evening, wherever you are. It is writing sprint time, and I'm not sure that I'm going to get much done this morning because Zeke is here just sitting off camera. I don't know if you guys can see him in like the dark and the fact that he is I'm completely off camera at the moment, but he's here begging scratches and just generally being in my way. Thanks. Ah, no jumping this early. What are we up to today? So my resolution is, I know I probably have something official scheduled on my marketing promo work plan thing. I will check it just to see what I am blowing off this morning to do this other thing, but the plan now I think is to finish this group promo thing that I did not finish yesterday because I'm really close. I have about 21 more books to allocate to categories, and so once I've done that, like it should be relatively quick to do the rest of it. So this is the hardest part. This is also the last part I have to do. So we're gonna try and see if we can get to it by the end of the sprint. I'm not super optimistic because judging from the last couple of sprints, it took me about 2 hours to figure out how to place books in like one or two categories, but we'll give it a go. Let's have a look at who is here. We've got Preston here, we've got Jim here. Welcome guys. I'm going to put 2 hours on the clock and we're gonna get some work done. Let's go. time is up. I am so close to being done with this promo, guys. I think I'm almost there. I've nearly grouped everything. I have like just two more books that I'm just kind of a bit like, I don't know where to put it right now. But it's two more books, which is then it's not Dragon Rise books, but like two more books that I need to stick in a category somewhere else. And then once I've done that, we shall be done, I think. Although I'm like second guessing a few of the categories. I might move some books around. I don't know, but like I'm mostly there. I'm mostly there, which is good. It's closer than I thought I would be to the end of organizing this performance. My goodness, like it's so hard. Like it's so hard trying to categorize all these books, especially when I haven't read them, and trying to like categorize them in a way that I think is going to be appealing to the target readers of that book. And it's just like, what? There's like one of these books where I've looked at the pitch provided by the author, and I'm like, oh, okay, like it makes me think like this, like, you know, of a certain kind of book. And then just because like I wasn't sure where to put it, I went to look at the reviews for it, and I'm like, oh, like that's not what I got from the pitch of like the actual book and the cover and the blurb and everything. So yeah, anyway, we shall see. Let's have a look at how you guys are doing. You guys have been so busy in the chat today, and I have like not been paying attention to it at all. Oh my gosh. It looks like Zayna Kingdom is really struggling. Oh my gosh. So Zayna has gotten the X-ray done yesterday morning and confirmed it was just a sprain and not a fracture. That's good. But it's really tiring when moving, and it was super sore. Now it's better because I've been staying in one places with crutches. Oh no, that is the worst. I hope you are getting plenty of rest. Sprains are no joke. I sprained my ankle one time, and it was just it hurt so much. Like it just, oh my god, like the pain was just kind of like off the scale. Anyway, Dana has 10 days leave from uni and should be able to rest well. I hope they're able to get you like notes and lecture recordings and things like that. Fingers crossed. I don't know where you are, but my uni had fairly decent like remote facilities. So like they got to a point where they were like recording all the lectures and stuff. So the only thing you really had to show up for was the tutorials, which were like they were like the small group class things at like outside of the lectures. And so those were really the only things you had to show up for. But like the lectures themselves, like you pretty much catch up with like the notes and like the recordings and stuff. Although I will say some lectures are better than others in terms of like the actual recordings, because some lectures just don't, like they're so boring that like it's hard to stay awake even when you're there in person, let alone like actually trying to listen to the recordings. So hopefully you won't miss too much. Let's see. Roderick has edited 23,000 words. That is awesome. Paget Farmer has got 1.5 character profiles done, which is fantastic. Al has managed to do 9 words in the first sprint, and the next one I will do with this person. I'm so sorry about it. Today is Saturday, which means I am due to go and make pancakes for coffee today. So there will actually not be a second sprint for today. But hopefully, if you really need to, you can always jump to the Discord and have a Discord sprint there, or you can always put on one of like the old sprints as a replay. That's generally I think what people do when they want another sprint, and I'm not doing one. Let's see, Jim is up to 1,457,000 words, and that is up 24,000 words in 24 days, which is amazing. That's so good. Elaine says, I kind of hoped at the book. Oh, I'm feeling that so much. I'm procrastinating so bad from like doing the next set of revisions and just telling myself that like it's not procrastination. I just need more time away from it. But I've been flip flopping so much. Because yesterday I was convinced that like the right way to go is just like to completely rewrite the chapter, and like last night, like I was just really need to rewrite it, or is there a way that I can kind of just like adjust it? Like now that I know what the main problem is, I don't know. Let's see. Amanus has proofread 150 letters today as well. Nice. Also, apparently, someone has accused Amanus of using AI in his book. Oh, that sucks. That really sucks, man. There is like a new service that is like on beta right now. It's being run by the same people who run Demonza, which is apparently like let's see if I can bring it up for you guys. Like it's called Author Integrity or something like that. Like integrity, author this thing. And I don't know how this thing works, right? Like I came across it briefly when I was looking at something else, and like I saw this thing, and it was like I looked at it and I was just like, like I have so many questions on this, because apparently what this does is like, you know, we verify and endorse books authored by humans, right? And I'm like, okay, like none of this is like this doesn't tell you anything about how it like actually works, right? And so it's like, you know, I don't know how this is done. Like it like this thing, like right, like if it's AI powered initial analysis, I'm just like it just kind of defeats the purpose for me to be like, okay, like this, like, you know, you're gonna take stuff that is human written and run it through another AI just so the AI can spit out a result saying like, yes, we verified this stuff. That I don't know, guys. I don't know, guys. Like it's just like what is this? I don't understand. And then there's supposed to be expert human verification afterwards, right? And then like apparently it's, you know, scrutinizing the results of the first process. Okay, so you're gonna get a human to look at what the AI is spitting out, saying like how AI it is, and then if necessary, which is like again, I don't know, like what are the criteria? How at what point do you determine if it's necessary, right? And then conduct a video interview with the author to create a realistic picture of the author and then link to the work. I don't know what that means. Like, what does that mean, right? Like I just I literally don't know what that means, right? And then after all that, apparently, you get like a certification, and it's like what? And then this other thing, like books published prior to October 2022, can be automatically authenticated and verified as human written without going through the process. Right, and I'm thinking that's just an arbitrary cutoff date based on like when ChatGPT was like open to the public, but I'm just like, oh god, like what? It just this does not make sense to me. It does not make sense to me because Mark Lauren, is it AI? He did this exercise, right, on his blog, right, where he actually got like 10 authors, like no, I should say this differently. He got a sample, a bunch of authors to write something based on a prompt, and then use the same prompt to prompt like ChatGPT or whatever to like write like, you know, a story. And like you can basically read these excerpts and you can like vote whether or not it was AI and whether or not you enjoyed the excerpt, right? And like if you looked at the results he posted, right? Now I was able to identify AI like 10 out of 10 times. Like it was very clear to me which ones were AI and which ones weren't. But if you look at like these results, like a lot of people weren't able to. So I'm just a bit like, I don't know that like any of this stuff like this verification stuff is really worth anything, to be honest. But yeah, no, it 100% sucks to have your stuff be accused of being AI when it is not AI. Oh my gosh, you guys could not see that. You guys, I clicked on the wrong screen, so you guys could not see what I was looking at. So yeah, like this is this false integrity thing that like I'm very confused by it. And like yeah, this is the Mark Lawrence page on whether or not we can figure out if something was written by AI or not. Let's see. And Jim says, I expect people will claim AI usage just to help their own work. No, like the thing that I've seen with people and people who are using AI to be creative is like there's kind of like three camps. There's like the people who are just in like the AI bros camp, and they're just like, yeah, no, like like you have to be a creative artist to be able to use AI, blah 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 blah. And like shadiversity is like poster board for that group of people, right? And then you have the other group of people on the other extreme who's basically like will not touch AI, like because like everything about AI and what it produces is just like there is no point to it. And I will say that like as far as creative endeavors go, like I am in that bucket, right? Like because the more I think about it, right, the more I think about it is there's two main reasons why you would use AI, right, in your creative process, like at least according to me, right? Number one is you're stuck on ideas, and in which case I'm a bit like most people I know who are creatives, like not having ideas is never the problem. You have too many ideas. Usually that's the problem, and you're just like, I don't know what one I should pick. So like my response to like I'm using AI because I don't have any ideas. I'm always like, it is going to be you're going to be so much better if you like learn to come up with ideas, and like that's a really important skill that is going to do you good in like every single aspect of life, not just creativity, right? So like then the second problem is like, okay, I have an idea, but like I don't know like how to write the thing, or like I just want AI to write the bits that I don't feel like writing. And then I'm a bit like, okay, well my personal philosophy again is like, if you're looking at a piece of prose, right, like if there is stuff in there that like you don't feel like writing, like your job as a writer is to figure out how to write it in a way that is interesting. So if you don't feel like writing it, chances are like it's not going to be interesting for you. It really isn't. And then there's the things like I think I was reading like the Verge article which came out like ages ago, where the author was saying like, oh, like AI is like made my process so much faster because like I'll get to a certain section of the story and I'll just be like, describe an extravagant ballroom, right? And like it'll just like populate something about like crystal chandeliers and like gilded crown moldings on the ceiling or whatever, and she'll just be like, yeah, done, move on, and like it doesn't matter, and like I can just like get on with writing the rest of the story. And like there's a part of me it's just like that to me just speaks of improvements that are needed in craft. Because if you like, you should never be describing anything just for the sake of describing it. Like, description should serve a purpose, like so it should reveal something additional about the setting or the characters or plot. Like it should serve more than just the purpose of like not having a white room syndrome. So like, said extravagant ballroom, like who owns it? Why is it extravagant? What is the context of all of that? Like if it doesn't matter what the detail is, then like it shouldn't be in the book. And if it is important, the detail, like it should like the nature of the detail should matter. It should be like but then right, like the argument could be, well, like, okay, I just give it a prompt to like prompt on whatever, so like I'm still architecting like the details and what have you, so like it's not that like I just leave it up to the AI to fill in whatever. And then I'm just like, okay, but now you're getting to the point where you're just like you're outsourcing the effort of like crafting of the actual words. Like you're outsourcing the actual process of writing thing. And like I don't know, like if you kind of think of like the whole AI thing as like a argument for outsourcing, I'm just like, why would you outsource the thing that is supposed to be your core competency? Like it does not make sense to me. But then again, like I am somebody who deeply cares about prose, and like I just like I will drop books that I find interesting in concepts if like the prose is just terrible, like and I just cannot get through it, right? And so it's just I'm just like I don't get it. Like maybe for authors where it's just like, you know, James Patterson, right? Like you're just an ideas person, and like your thing is just like generate lots of ideas and get lots of people to write for it. Well, yeah, like maybe, but like I'm not like the people who I see who are usually very out and proud about like the fact that they are using AI in their writing are like they're the people who are like focused on volume, right? Like they want to pump out 50, 100 books per year, and the only way you can kind of do that at volume is you can't write it all yourself unless you really are just like super quick and you're just like, you know, churning out the books. But I don't know how many writers really write at that particular level. If you guys know what I mean. Also, I think Amanis brings up a really good point. With like I write too fast for AI and it would slow me down because yeah, like the output from AI it's not good. It's not good. Like a lot of the people I have seen using it and discussing their use of it, like in author groups and stuff like that, like it's just it churns out stuff that's just it's awful, right? Because AI is not intelligent in any respect. It's just a giant, you know, autocomplete on steroids, and so the sentences it churns out, like there's no like it's just guessing the next word based on your prompt, like using a you know distribution of probability. So that's really it. Like and sometimes by chance it can like happen on, you know, a combination of words that you might really like, but more often than not, it's just like it's like a poker machine. You're just like pulling the lever, trying to get it to come up with a combination of sentences that fits, and it's not good. It's not good. There are tons of YouTube videos and examples of people playing around with it and experimenting with it. Like so, unresolved textual tension did one. A critical dragon did one. It's just yeah, like I look at that and I'm just like the time it would take you to put in a prompt, have it churn something out, regenerate that prompt until you're happy with it, copy paste that, put it into your document, clean it up again to be like actually readable. I'm like, you could have just learned how to write that sentence or that paragraph like better. Like even with like the current revisions I'm struggling with, like there is no way that a large language model would actually be able to fix the issues, because the issues that I'm having in revision have nothing to do with like the ability to string a sentence together. Like I can do that just fine. It's the prose is just like it's like an iceberg, right? The prose is the visible part that you can see on the book, but then like there's everything else, like character motivation, like plot arc, all of that are underlying that prose that you can't. It's very hard to see it at the sentence level, but if it is absent, like you will absolutely notice it as a reader just when you're reading the words, because it's just like the words don't do anything. The words are just there. You can read them out, but like, does it tell a satisfying story? No, I don't think so. Al says, I don't like AI when it comes to books. It takes away the hard work of any author and sends many books out that could make it harder for hardworking creative writers. Yeah, I mean, like the thing is just like whatever this current iteration of AI is, which is like we should stop calling it AI honestly, because it's not intelligent in any way, right? It is just a generative large language model. Like this, it can't produce anything that anybody would look at like and call good by any objective measure. And like I'm not even getting into subjective stuff, like which is what you usually get debating whether like books or or art is good or bad. Like you just look at the stuff that AI spits out, and it's just no, no. And then like the discoverability problem is I don't know, like some days like you see the things about like the flood of AI books on Amazon, and you're like, oh, okay, that's a problem. But at the same time, right? Like there's already so much competition on Amazon, and discoverability is so broken that quite honestly, whether you add another 100,000 or like 100 billion like crappy AI books into the sea of all possible books, like it's not really going to like change things for you, because at the moment it's like, how many of you guys are having readers stumble across your book organically because like they saw it on the top page of like the whatever the Kindle lists are? Like not many, unless you're like pumping a lot of ads and promo money into like making sure that ranking is sticky and all that stuff. Like most of my sales come from referrals or from like me posting on social media and like me driving traffic to the book. Like it's like somebody seeing me posting something goes, oh, I think I might like that, and then they go to look for the book on Amazon or like through one of my links or like whatever. It's not because any of these platforms are like pushing my book out, right? Like so the I would be more concerned with and like to some extent this is happening on YouTube, so thankfully I haven't seen it too much on Twitter and Instagram. I would be much more concerned if like somehow these AI tools were drowning out like discoverability and stuff on social media platforms. Well, it's like there's a lot of bots on Instagram and Twitter, but thankfully right now like it's not, like if you search any of the hashtags that people usually use for book discoverability, thank goodness most of those are still from like actual humans, right? And not just like bots trying to push things. And yeah, I'm excited about the changes to link and bio that Instagram is pushing right now. It's like penalizing all external links, so it's just like, oh god, everything is just getting like harder and harder and harder. And I know maybe what we all need to do is to go back to selling in person at cons and stuff like that. Instead, like well, the person on the other side, like talk to them, like it's not a bot. Roderick says that whole thing just sounds like someone came up with another way to make money off indie authors in relation to the author integrity stuff. Like this thing, like I honestly, I don't know. Like I look at this and I'm like I can't understand. Like one, how this sort of verification would be worth anything in and of itself, because like as Mark Lawrence's little experiment has shown over here, like most people have no clue whether or not something was actually written by AI or not. Like they can't really guess it from that short a snippet. And like like my next question is, right, like who are these humans like doing the verifying? Because like looking at this, it's just like, oh, it's a video interview. Okay, and what does that prove? What like really does that prove? Like how is it going to prove that human actually wrote the thing? So it in my mind, like I look at this and it's just it looks like a pretty worthless setup, honestly, to me. And yeah, I'm in agreement with Roderick. Like it's just it feels like an initiative where we're seeing social media backlash against AI and against use of AI and stuff. And like, I mean, I agree there should be standards and disclosures and all that stuff. But like, the problem is like, how would you actually go about it, right? Like, how would you actually go about verifying if someone did what you said? Like, and for me, like, I'm in a better place than most authors because I do live stream like virtually all of my writing. Not like there are times when like I'm not actually like actively live streaming when I'm working on a book. Like there are times like, oh, I have a spare couple of hours, like I'm not going to go and try and tackle the scene or whatever. But like the majority of authors like aren't going to be live streaming their writing. So it's just, oh, I hate all of this. I seriously Roderick also says another problem with AI detection is that it has a bias in itself. It's great at detecting real Americans, but for instance, it tends to confuse foreign students with AI. 100%, 100%. Like the data sets that are out there are hugely biased towards, you know, like American content, because like a lot of these are American companies. It's just not. It's really, really not good. Amana says, I don't have enough ideas, unfortunately. Do you think an AI wants to write a craft piece? They should be considerate. And in relation to pumping out lots of books, it's really simple. All you have to do is write 10,000 words a day, like me. Like the amount of time for me to figure out what the prompt is would take me longer than it would for me to literally write it myself. Yeah, like amen. Jim asks, have you ever heard of AI editors? Okay, so here's the other thing, right? Like editing is a really specialized skill, and there's different kinds of editing, right? There's different kinds of editing. There's developmental editing, which is very, very difficult to do well. There's copy editing, which is like, you know, a different thing. And there's copy editing sometimes gets lumped in with line editing, and proofreading as well, which again, it's kind of like a bit blurry. Like there are definitely copy editors who will also proofread, and there are definitely proofreaders who are kind of going a little bit beyond just proofreading, doing line editing and stuff like that. And the thing is, right, like I wouldn't trust AI to do any of that, because again, it is not intelligent. It is not intelligent. It does not understand anything. So just because they put it in a chatbot format to like simulate the feel of talking to an intelligent entity does not mean it is actually intelligent, right? Like it does not actually understand any of the words you're sending to it, and it does not actually understand any of the words that it's you know, regurgitating back to you. All it's doing is looking up a very complicated mathematical model about, like, you know, what words occur in a probabilistic frequency in relation to this combination of words. It doesn't actually understand anything. So, you like, it's going to be, like, number one, most people who say they're developmental editors or, you know, whatever, at least, like, from what I have seen, like, they're not, like, developmental editing is really, really hard, like really, really hard. And like, I would not trust most people who have like zero credentials in this regard of like saying, oh, like, yeah, I will do developmental editing for you, because like it is you need a very specialized skill set to be able to do that. So like it is about being able to look beyond the words on the page and deduce what the author's intentions are or what the possible directions are, and like structurally what is the piece doing. Like so much goes into developmental editing that like like humans who can actually understand the words don't are like by and large like it struggle with this. So no, I would not trust AI to do that. Then you go to the line level stuff and you run back into the same issues as like I was saying in the first place about like how this AI writing is just not good. Like it's just not good. Like honestly speaking, like you are so much better off getting humans, like actual humans who are your target readers, to beta read your book and give you feedback on your book, and then sitting down with their feedback and figuring out, like learning how to self-edit based on that. Like you will, like it will take more time, right? Because in the sense that like probably with these editors, what you would do is copy paste the whole manuscript into it and then just like spit out a bunch of output to you, right? But like the thing is, like the quality of the output that you're gonna get, it's terrible. It's terrible. Like honestly, it is terrible. Like, and even with human beta readers, right? There are good and there are bad beta readers. You can get a beta reader who will give you lots and lots and lots of output, right? Like their opinion, and it's fine. It's their opinion. It's valid. But like, should you act on it? No, because like if they're a bad beta reader for your book because they're really not your target audience, like acting on that feedback is just gonna make your book worse. Like it's just not all feedback is equal, and it is worth like spending time on the dev edits something like dev edits and like line edits and stuff like that, and getting your book to the point where it is good. Like the thing about AI for me, right, that I find problematic is when you get to the point where you have outsourced your ability to wield judgment of whether something or not is achieving the effect that you want it to achieve, and where you have outsourced also the ability to actually do the thing you're asking it to do for you, like that is a problem. That is a problem, because then, like, where is the value add that you're creating, right? Like, if you have outsourced that ability, like, well, what are you contributing to the world? Like, it doesn't, it doesn't, it's just, it's no, just no. Like, my dude, just learn, like, one, learn how to write good, and then two, learn how to edit good. Like, you will spend, like, I promise you, the output after you do that, like, spending an equivalent amount of time on it as, like, trying to do these AI tools or whatever. Honestly, you will be a better author, a better writer, a better storyteller at the end of it, because you can internalize those things and you can understand those things in a way that AI can't. Like, it's like, I guess it's going back to the, like, you know, give a man a fish to feed him for a day, like, teach a man how to fish, like, you know, he'll be able to feed himself the rest of his life. It's the same thing. Like, you rely on AI to do a thing for you, like, okay, like, you've done the thing, but, like, the next time you need to do it, like, you still know how to do it. No, you don't, because you didn't do it. You didn't put in the hours to learn how to do it. But, like, if you actually sit there, struggle, words, pages, and, like, all that stuff, like, you will actively get better. Like, I don't know, but, like, it's a very, it's how can I say it? Like, the whole idea of using automation to reduce, like, the level of human effort required in effort non-value add, like, yes, that makes sense, right? That makes sense. But I think where things have gotten to is that people have forgotten that the purpose was to free up human time so that human time could be spent on the high value activities like that. And that is not what's happening right now. Instead, like, the whole paradigm has been kind of flipped upside down, where it's just like the AI, like, so many people are trying to use AI to do the high value activities. And because, you know, high value activities have a high dollar price tag, because you need highly skilled humans to do said activities, and all these companies are just kind of looking at, like, their P&Ls and going, like, we would like to make more profit because, you know, we have a profit seeking structure, and therefore, what is the easiest way to make more profit? Oh, let's just take the biggest expense line on our P&Ls and slash that as much as possible. Who is a really big expense line? Oh, all these very talented and highly skilled humans doing this, you know, work. And, like, because a lot of the decision making at these places is very far removed from the people doing the actual work, like, the people who are making these decisions have no understanding or appreciation of the craft and of the skill that is required to go into it. And they will just look at something and they'll just be like, oh yeah, like, that's exactly the same thing. When you look at it and you're just like, it is in no way exactly the same thing. Anybody who has eyes and a reasonable degree of understanding in that, you know, discipline would be able to like, tell you, like, just like, how far apart it is, right? But, you know, like, they can save lots of money, so, like, they just act like, and I'm not bitter about this at all. No, not like, it, like, seriously, guys, this happened to me at my last corporate job, where I was just, you know, it's actually happened to me at, like, every single corporate job I've had, where you just go, why are you guys doing this? Like, yes, in the short term it will save you money, but I can tell you right now, like, exactly what the impact is going to be on your competitive advantage, on the quality of your service and your products, like, in 3-5 years from now. Like, not even then, like, in the exact products and services you're delivering, like, right now. Like, it is a step down in quality. And yeah, maybe nobody will catch on initially, but, like, oh my goodness, this is going to be really apparent in the long term. And like, I don't know, like when you apply it to something like consulting and auditing, right? Like it's very hard to tell until and usually you get away with it until you can't get away with it anymore and something implodes and it's like a corporate collapse or fraud or something, and then there's like a massive inquiry, and then like they dig through all the processes and they're like, oh yeah, at one point they wanted to save money and this is what they did to save money. Yeah, that was a bad thing. Yeah, let's all agree that it would be a good idea to use skilled humans to do the thing that requires skill and judgment and interpretation, because like these things, this is what happens when you don't. But like take something like books, for example. Like it just, oh my god, like maybe the majority of people don't care, right? And like they just want their next fix with like their favorite trips and whatever, and like it's just an easy way to kill a couple of hours of time, and that's what they want from a book, and fine, that's great. I really think you're just gonna see a split of the market, because yeah, like the people who will go for that kind of stuff are not the same people who will go for like human literature, human written creative literature. But anyway, sorry, that was a really long digression. Amana says I use Grammarly, and also I use AI in all my stuff. AI being actual intelligence. Oh god, that's a good one. See, with with tools like Grammarly though, right? I feel like they're like I use it too, in the sense that I use it to flag that, like as a flag, right? Like to flag things where it's like, this might be a very confusing clause, or this looks like this might be improper use it. And then, but like I don't just accept whatever change you're proposing, right? Like I go off and I research it, and I figure out whether or not it is right, and also whether or not I agree with it. Like, because sometimes I'm just like, I know that it's a convoluted clause. I know, like, there's probably like 10 clauses too many in the paragraph, but you know what? I'm doing that for a special effect. And I have this intention of like writing it this way, and well, I'm not going to take this stupid suggestion, because doing that would actually detract from the voice and the effect that you're going for in prose. But again, to make that kind of decision, you have to have a good enough understanding of prose and its effects and what you're doing when you are writing prose in a certain way. In order to be able to make that decision, you have to be conscious about it. If you're not conscious about it, then you go, yeah, like, okay, Grammarly said that this is a bad sentence. I guess I'll just take its suggestion. And then you end up with really bland prose with no authorial voice. And it's just this very bland average of like the most average thing to get to. What is Grammarly and all these other tools running off of? Oh yeah, that's right. It's just looking for the most probable distribution of words, like that come after other words. So it's just, you would never get something like The Spear Cuts Through Water being written by AI. Like it could not conceive of it. It could not write it, and like I would not trust it to edit it. And if you tried running The Spear Cuts Through Water through like Grammarly or whatever those tools are, I no, like every single change, I guarantee you that it suggests would make it the sentence in the book all worse. Like I guarantee it, actually. What else? Oh my gosh, I've been like so slow in keeping up with the chat because I've been like ranty. Roderick says, to be fair, in relation to editors, I think a lot of editors in the author time don't have all the necessary editing skills either, but that's a different discussion. Oh god, like seriously, fine. Like this is why I will maintain that 95%, right, as an indie author, especially when you're coming out with like your first couple of books, like investing thousands of dollars into paying for professional editing is just not, it's just not worth the ROI. And I'm saying this because like I have seen people get really badly burned because they don't know what good editing looks like. They have no clue. Like it's just like a lot of people just kind of stumble through the publishing process and it's like, okay, like 50 YouTube videos and 20 blog articles tell me that I need to pay a professional editor, and then they go onto all these editor websites and stuff, and like a lot of the editor websites are not like they will have testimonials and things from other indie authors, but like the thing especially with dev editing, right, that is really hard to see is you will never know how good that dev editor is unless you really can how can I say it? Like it's so hard because dev editing requires them to know the whole structure. You can't assess the whole structure unless you've read the whole manuscript and unless you kind of get that visibility. Like it's really hard to get a sample dev edit, right? Like because sample editing by definition is just like they edit a short excerpt. So how is somebody going to give you a sample of a dev edit if you don't actually pay them to look at your whole manuscript, which is going to cost thousands of dollars in the first place? So dev editing is really hard to try and get a gauge on, like, is this person going to have the right understanding? Which is why, like, for me personally, like, there is one dev editor that if I could afford his rates, I would hire him on the spot, and that is the guy behind the Critical Dragon YouTube channel. And the only reason why I would have no hesitation in paying him for a dev edit at his full rate, right, which I can't afford, is that if you look at his YouTube content, the way he thinks about structure and narrative and prose and audience and like the role of an author, the role of a reader, the role of an editor, all that stuff, like, oh my gosh, Nick, what are you doing? All that stuff, like, I can tell from his YouTube videos that like we would have very compatible views on what needs to be done from a structural editing perspective. And I also know, based on the books he reviews and the authors he reads and how he discusses those books, I also know that like he has a very good grasp of structure and what things are trying to do. But like for most dev editors who are selling these services, you don't have that. They don't have YouTube channels with 400 videos on them where you can kind of like understand where they would be coming from as a dev editor. Like they just have a web page with like 3 testimonials on it and like a thing that just says, I will do a developmental edit for you on characters and structures. And you're just kind of like, yeah, but like, who are you as an editor? What is your editorial, and I don't know that it's voice or whatever, but like that thing you don't know. And it's not to say they're necessarily incompetent, right? They could just not be the right development editor for you. And this is why like our friends over who are just doing traditional publishing have such a hard time querying, because they have to find an agent who has that same kind of vision for the book, and then that agent has to find an acquisitions editor who will also share that vision for that book. And it's not a simple thing. It's like it's a really complicated thing trying to find the right match, because if you cannot find the right match, like it's just, no matter how good the editor is, if your vision for your book, your story is going off this way, and they want you to go off this way, like you're gonna have a miserable time. And like that's just agony. Roderick also says, as for beta readers, anyone who decides to like beta reading, the book is almost ready for that. Yeah, awesome. Post the thing in Discord when you're ready for beta readers. Oh my gosh, I still haven't done that. My beta reader across this video for you. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. The too long didn't watch video, which of course you wouldn't have watched because I haven't posted it, is just my recommendation for beta reader setup is multiple Google surveys. Like use surveys to gather the questions. I would get feedback after every single chapter is what I recommend. You don't have to do chapters. I've seen people do like bigger stretches. Like I've seen people do like parts of books or just like one overall like survey at the end. But I would also recommend something that lets people give you inline comments. So the thing you need to think about, I think, is like a way to separate the inline in the moment reaction from the overall reflective reactions like after reading. So that is my okay. I need to go and make pancakes, clearly. Oh my gosh. Okay, I am not going to be able to catch up on the chat because I have a very, very hungry cat with me. So I guess we shall pick up this discussion another time when it comes up. And